So these are the tools you're going to need for this job. A couple trim tools, whatever you might have. You might get by with screwdrivers, but the trim tool came in really handy, especially the red one because it's stiffer. Small screwdriver. I did use the big screwdriver, and I used the cordless drill with a 10mm socket. You can do it by hand, but that's a heck of a lot faster. The big screwdriver really came in handy because right in the center at the bottom there's a bracket, or a, what do you call those things? Those things. Anyway, I could not get it pried loose from the bottom or the top, so I just put my black screwdriver on there and gave it a tap, and down it went. So that's the tools you'll need to take your bumper off and adjust your headlights. Welcome to, is it Vice Grip Garage? No, it's Driveway Garage. I don't have a million followers or subscribers. Anyway, I'm working on my 2013 Subaru Outback. And at night, my headlights are terrible. My brights are bright. These are the brights, the inside ones. But it literally looks like I don't have my headlights on when I have my dims on. And it brightens up the ground right here in front of the vehicle, but it doesn't shoot down the road at all. So I'm wondering if somebody put the headlight bulb in wrong, or what the deal is. I just can't figure it out. So I'm going to try to figure it out. So what you got to do, if you're on the driver's side, crank your wheel all the way to the right. There's a little tab here you have to release, and there's another one down underneath here. And I guess you just use a little screwdriver. Let's see if I can give you an idea here. If you can see that, and if I can see that. Well, this might be a two-handed job. Anyway, the idea is to pull that tab down, and then you can release this, and then you have to grab the bumper and pull it away. And the reason you move your tire, you got to move this inner lining out of the way. You got to get your hand up in there, and what you're trying to do, if you're looking from the inside, you're trying to unscrew this plastic cap right here. And then I guess there's some kind of retaining clip, of course the wiring harness to the bulb. Where are we at? There we are. So that's what I'm trying to do. So let me see if I can get that pop loose, and if I can get that cap off there. Well, there's the two clips. This bottom one, it didn't even loosen. The whole thing just popped out. Looks like part of it broke off because there were force things on it. Anyway, I got my fingers inside of here and I pulled hard, and I snapped the bumper out of the brackets that hold it. So now I got a little room to get up in there. But man, they don't make this easy at all. I think you'd almost be better off taking the tire off, but maybe it doesn't matter. So now I got to get my hand up in there and try to take that cover off if I can figure out where it's at. You guys probably can't see it because I can't see it. See if I can find it by feel. Well, I hate to say I gave up, but I gave up. I can barely get my hand up in there, and I got it unscrewed just a little bit, but it's so tight that I can't turn it all the way off. My fear is I'll get it off, and then I won't be able to get it back on, or I'll get the light bulb out and I can't get it back in. So I think I'm going to go to plan B. Plan B is take your whole bumper off. There's clips on the bottom, kind of like I took off. There's several clips up here on the top, all across there. Once you get both sides loose and all the clips off the bottom, then what you want to do is leave one clip in the top here just to keep your bumper or grill from falling off. But when you get everything loose, then you just pull the bumper off, and then there's a whole bunch of bolts like this that hold on a bracket. Then you got to take out the whole headlight assembly. But I cannot stand driving at night like I have to. And if you leave your brights on, normally people haven't been flashing me, but last night at least a half a dozen people flashed their lights at me. So I know the brights are too bright, or they're normal bright lights, but the dims seriously are like they're non-existent. So I'm going to go ahead and take out all the clips, and I guess I'll have to unplug the fog lights to get that off. Let me go ahead and get these clips off. And I've got this little plastic trim tool. Why don't I back this out a little bit? There we go. So these things, you just get underneath that little notch there and you raise them up. And then once they're up, they're loose, they'll pull out of there. And I guess I can use the trim tool to do that. But be careful, because they will go flying, and when they do, you never know where they're going to end up. Come on, get out of there. There, one's out. So I'm going to get all these clips out of here, then we'll see what we have. So I'll be back. I grabbed the little plastic dish to put all these fasteners in so I don't accidentally lose one. I'll continue. So when you take these little clips out, you just want to pop them up a little bit, because the further you pull them up, then it puts those clips back into a bind and you can't get them out. So just barely loosen them. That takes the pressure off of them, and then they pull out easy. See if I can show you on one here. Just barely lift it up, and then it'll come out. Come on out, don't make a liar out of me. You can feel the pressure on it. It's wanting to lock back in place. No, I can't get my fingers on that one. There. Anyway, just don't pull them up too high. You'll cause yourself problems. Well, I ended up getting a different trim tool. This one's a little stiffer, got a little bigger gap, so I think it'll work better. I'm gonna give it a shot. But the other one was just a little too flimsy, and the gap was too narrow to get around the clip. These little ones on the bottom are a son of a gun. They don't want to release like they're supposed to. So basically, you've got to get your trim tool clear underneath it like this, and then just pop them out of there while they're still engaged. But I suppose because of, well, I don't know, dirt, corrosion, whatever, they're just not popping out of there to release them. So they're coming out whole like that. They're a bugger, but they come out. Okay, I got the bumper loose all the way around. As you can see, what I did is I put a screwdriver up here just to hold it so it doesn't just fall off. Once you get it loose, you have to pull the side back and get in there and undo your fog lights. It looks to me like right on the bottom of it, there's a little clip. You just squeeze that, pull the connector off, and then I think the bumper, I'll do that on both sides, will be loose. I'm not sure if I could do this while I'm filming it, but I'll try. Release. Maybe. I need to use the other hand. Boy, I tell you, Subaru. Some rock scientist must have invented this method. Well, I think I'm gonna have to use two hands, but you gotta release that tab there and then pull it down. Let me see if I can get it done with two hands. Well, I thought I had it all loose, but it come to find out, there's a clip right there in the center. Everything else is loose. And that one is up inside there where it's really hard to get to. So I'm going to take and see if I can pound it out of there. See if you can see it better. If it'll focus. Anyway, it's a son of a gun. I'm trying to pull it down from the bottom, and that's not working. I don't really want to break it. Somehow I've got to get that thing pried loose. Looks like I have a few weeds up here in my grill that need to go bye-bye. This would be a good time to replace your horn if you have a mind to, because this one kind of weak. Man, all kinds of crap up in here. Must have hit some tumbleweeds, I guess. Huh. Anyway, let me see if I can get that. Enhance. There it is. Somehow I got to get that pried loose. Well, as you can see, I got the bumper off. I had this long screwdriver. I put it right on top of it and gave it a tap with my hand, and it popped it loose. And then of course the bumper fell off, and all my dilly-dallies went flying. So I got those all picked up. There's also a piece of styrofoam here. Goes someplace. And it fell off too, so I'm not quite sure where it goes exactly, but I'm guessing someplace in that area. Alright, so now what you gotta do, you gotta get this bracket off. And this is a 10 millimeters, I'm pretty sure, because I already tried one of them. And there's a couple bolts there. There's one down there. A couple over here. Once you get that bracket off, then you can take the headlight assembly out. But I think it's got a few 10 millimeters holding it in too. So let's see. Well, I got the bolts out and it's loose, but it's not going to come out yet because there's another one of those plastic tabs right there I got to get out. So let me get that out of there. Okay, once you get that plastic tab out of that side, that piece of plastic pops out of there. Now, we gotta take this out, and let's see if there's any others. I'm not sure if there's anything else holding that in there or not. Down below, I don't see anything. Maybe it's just that 10 millimeter. I'll take that out of there. Well, if it's not one thing, it's another. You go to the top of the headlight on the driver's side. There's another tab there, and there's another 10 millimeter. Maybe that will be the end of them. Okay, the headlight is loose, as you can see. When you take that last pin out of the last bolt, whatever you do, it'll just fall out, so hang on to it. Now, I can unscrew this cover. See if I can do it right here. Oh, I can't even budge it. I'm gonna have to get some channel locks. And then you gotta undo this wiring harness. Can you imagine doing that all through that little hole right there, reaching up through the wheel well? It's a pain in the butt. Good job, Subaru. I couldn't figure out why I couldn't unscrew this any further, but I pulled on it and it just popped off. So it only screws in just a little tiny bit to, there's an O-ring around it, so I guess that seals the water from getting in there. My thought was somebody put these headlights in wrong. That or it's just burned out. I don't know, because they don't shine down the road at all. Maybe I'm just running on my daytime lights. I don't know, but super dim. So you got to get that bracket out of there. And that looks like it flips over to the side. And then out. Similar to a Prius that I've worked on, but I've never worked on a Subaru there. That releases that metal tab. And then your bulb just falls out of there. You've got a wiring clip on there, a wiring harness. Got to pull that off. And when you replace these bulbs, don't don't touch the glass, because the oil in your fingers will make it burn out a lot faster. So let's see, it almost looks like they put the bulb on top of that wire clip. If you see right down in there, right there, that wire clip's supposed to be on top of the bulb or housing, not down underneath it. And that might be my problem, why my lights are so dim. Whoever did this didn't know what they were doing. Let me see if I can get that out of there. Well, I don't think the bulb's bad. They had half of this clip, that part there, underneath the bulb, which instead of sitting down in there, because there's only one way they sit in there, you see that little tab at the bottom? They have to slip in there just like that. And then this clip goes on top of it, and they had that clip underneath the bulb, so I suppose the bulb was sitting cattywampus. That's why they weren't shining out like they're supposed to. So what I'm going to do is check both sides, and then I'll put the headlight assembly back in loosely, and then I'm going to see what they look like on my garage door. But I think that is the problem, just bad installation. When you put this cover back on, there's 4 tabs that go into 4 grooves, and there's an O-ring on it. So make sure you have it flat all the way around, and then push it into place, and then twist it. It's kind of hard, but it'll go in, and then you have a nice tight seal. Otherwise, it's going to be loose, and you'll get water in there, and that'll cause your headlight to burn out quicker. And when you put your headlight back in, this bracket goes on top of the metal. This one goes on top of the metal. This one goes behind the metal, and there's a little nub sticking out there, and it goes in that hole. That way everything's lined up. Your headlight's where it's supposed to be. Let me turn these on and see if they look any better. Well, that is much better, guys. You can see there's actually a headlight shining on my door. Before, they were shining down on the ground here, and the front of my car was lit up good, but that light there was just totally unfocused. So I think that is the problem. I'm going to check the other side out. As you can see, that's the driver's side, and I can block that off with my hand if I can find it. And you see where the passenger side is? It's shining clear down there. So I bet it's the same problem. So let me get that off. Part of it shines down there, part of it shines there, but it's not shining where it's supposed to. I remember when you put your headlight in, there's a screw there that holds it, and one back here. And the rest of them you have to have this black bracket on first. You'll have a screw there, and a screw there, a screw in the front under the bright light, and then there's 2 over here on this side. And also, don't forget your little plastic clip. I don't think it's important, but I'll try to get mine back in there. Now to the passenger side. I got the same problem on the passenger side, but a different problem. You see the tab where the slot where that tab is supposed to go? Well, it's not in the tab. It's supposed to be over to the right a little bit. So I'm going to loosen that up, put it in the way it belongs. And that should fix my headlight problem. Okay, I got it in the slot it belongs in. Get a little closer. You can see the tab is in the slot. The spring is back where it belongs. So I'm guessing whoever tried this probably did it from under the wheel well, and they just couldn't see what they were doing, and they did it wrong. So my advice is go ahead and do what I did. Take off your bumper cover, because it's just too hard to do this right when you can't see what you're doing. Now, a smart guy would just go ahead and replace his bulbs while he's here. And I'm entertaining that thought before I put everything back together. But my bulbs are working. They just were lined up wrong. So that's what it takes. Figure an hour at a time. It's not that bad. Maybe a little longer because I haven't put it back together yet. But basically one guy can do it. Give yourself an hour or 2. The hardest part is getting all the plastic clips out. Everything else, the screws themselves come out easy. And all of the screws, they have a little neck on them there, as you can see, and they kind of go into, like this one, it goes into there and helps keep it lined up where it belongs. So if you can see that, it's just slipping in that hole. But I went ahead and put all the screws back in the driver's side so I didn't get mixed up on the screws. I got the bracket back on, the headlights look good. I'm really toying with whether I should just go get some new headlights. I don't want to do this again in a month. Sure don't want to do it in the winter time when it's snowing and cold. But I'm kind of lazy, so I'll probably just put it back together. But at least I have dim headlights, and they'll actually shine down the road like they're supposed to, not light up the pavement right in front of my vehicle. Hope this helps somebody out. I'm going to go ahead and end this video, but I'm going to also go ahead and make a pre-video of the tools that you need to do this, and I'll add that to the front of the video. That might help you guys out more than looking at what I have going along. Anyway, feel free to share with anybody that has one of these Subarus, and if you'd like it and subscribe, that'd be awesome. But at least hit the like button if it helped you out at all. Alright, well, I'm done for now. I don't think I have any other things to add. Just the reverse order. Plug in your fog lights before you clip everything back together, and make sure you get all your bolts in. It's probably okay if you have a little bit of plastic, these fasteners left, because there's a lot of them. But you know, try to put everything back together completely. If you have stuff left over, you forgot something. Now I have a case I bought off of Amazon of these things, different sizes, so if one of them won't work or it's broken, I can just go ahead and replace it. Kind of handy to have because you need them on a lot of different stuff. Thanks again for watching. Hope this helps you out. Have a great day. So this black piece of foam goes right there in front of the, well, you know, that would be your bumper, I guess. Maybe it gives it a little cushion. But part of one of the tabs broke off, so it's only got one tab holding it. It doesn't want to stay in place. So I'm just going to go grab a piece of tape, tape it up where it belongs. That way it'll stay there while I get the bumper on. I know as hard as some of these fasteners came out, they're not going to want to go back in because they didn't release. So I went ahead and grabbed my little box of fasteners. HE70, 360 pieces. It's got quite a variety in there. So I'm going to use these wherever I have to replace these ones that didn't pop open. Hopefully I have enough variety and enough size that I can get that done. Well, putting it back on, I decided to go ahead and stick that screwdriver in that hole just to hold it in place so I don't have to fight with it. Otherwise it's going to just keep falling off on you until you get some fasteners in there. I've got the driver's side fog light hooked up. I just pulled this out a little ways, got my hand in there and clipped it on. They go on a lot easier than they come off. You only need one hand for that. But now I'll start snapping everything back together and get the fasteners in and see how many pieces I have left over when I get all done. Okay, this is the end of the video, I promised. You can see where the headlights are hitting now. I should have done a before. I don't think I did if I remember right, but they were not shining like that. One was shining on the ground down like over here, and the other one was shining over there. And you could see right in front of the vehicle about 4 feet, but you couldn't see down the highway. So that's going to fix the problem. I don't have to replace the bulbs. I hope those bulbs don't burn out for a long time. Thanks again for watching.